Looking for music that lifts your spirit and fills your heart? Experience the powerful sound of the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square. Now streaming on all your favorite music platforms. Find the Tabernacle Choir on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon Music, and Pandora. Let the music of the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square inspire you today and every day. Whether you're at home, in the car, or on the go, enjoy the beauty of their world-renowned sound anytime. The Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square, streaming now.
Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles, thank you for making us a part of your Saturday morning. It is June 6th. It is the beginning of summertime. Alex, I missed those summer months, man.
Feels like summer. Yesterday, yeah. it got a little hot yesterday.
It did. I think it's supposed to be warm today too.
Walked out of my car yesterday when I got home, and I was like, "Dang, it's kind of hot."
Dang, it's hot. Yeah.
You know what, man? I fell for it again.
What's that?
They got me again. Every time that I think I'm out, they pull me back in. And it's freaking EA, man.
You buy the new FIFA?
No.
Or are you going to buy the new Madden?
I told myself I wasn't going to buy the new college football game.
Oh, college football.
Because it's it's the same game every year.
Uh-huh.
And then they dropped the teaser, and I was like, oh.
Dude, did you see that they lit the U in the trailer?
That's like the least of my.
You're not buying it to light the U?
That's down the list of the things that I wanted to see. It's the whole new they added NIL, they added a bunch of like other stuff to Dynasty, and they actually made improvements to Dynasty.
They're just now adding that?
Yeah. After 2 editions.
I played the first. This will be the third one.
Third edition.
I played the first one. It was fine. I got bored of it pretty quickly, and I was not interested in the second one.
And that's exactly why I was like, nah, I'm not gonna invest in it this year. It's the same game. But then they dropped the teaser and they dropped all the stuff, and then like some of the influencers are posting like their beta clips and like playing the game, the actual game, you know. And I was like, oh man,
can you gamble in it?
They got me. No, you can't gamble in it.
You can't start like a DraftKings account?
I don't think you can. Maybe in 2 more editions. They'll be sponsored by DraftKings. Who knows?
Yeah, and we'll get to that story later. There's some new Brendan Sorsby news coming out. We will talk about that in a bit. But, of course, the big story right now, Game 2 last night, NBA Finals. The Knicks win it 105-104. Wemby had a chance to win the game. He misses the game-winning shot. Our producer Parker put together a little highlight package with that final shot. So let's go ahead and give it a listen.
Castle inbound. Fox gets it. Bridges on him. 4 seconds. Fox to Wembanyama. Pulls up. Jumper. Won't go. Rebound taken by Vassell. It's over. It's over. The Knicks survive. This magic carpet ride continues. 13 straight victories, and they lead 2-0 here in these NBA Finals.
First off, great job, Parker. That was really funny. New York state of mind.
That was amazing.
The Knicks win Game 2, man.
Did the Spurs, arena team, did they not learn their lesson in Game 1? Doing the cartoon troll song when they were introducing the Knicks lineup twice. You didn't learn your lesson the first time. You did it again, and this is what happens.
I missed that. That's funny.
You're 0-2 at home. You're down 0-2 against the Knicks.
And then the series goes back to New York. Yeah, and now you're asking the Spurs to win at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
What an awful sequence of events from Victor Wembanyama to end this game. I think that ultimately, if the Spurs lose this series, I think the end of Game 2 and the mistakes that Victor Wembanyama made, that's going to be talked about for a long time, especially if he never wins the ring, you know?
Yeah.
First off, that crucial turnover off the Jalen Brunson missed shot. Starting the fast break, Steph Castle assumes that Wembanyama's going to run the floor. Wembanyama tries to push the ball up to Steph Castle, literally right as he turns around, bounces off of his back, and Jalen Brunson is able to steal. So that was a big mistake. And then, of course, on the last shot, he got a fine look. But one thing that really bugged me, Alex, is I should have found this clip, but do you remember a few weeks ago when he was talking about Shea and flopping, and he had some quote about ethical basketball?
I do remember that, yes.
Did you see him fall down after his shot that he missed?
Yes.
That would have been game-winning shot. Mitchell Robinson is defending. Robinson doesn't even touch him at all.
No.
And Wembenyama, all 7'5" of him, tumbles.
Yeah.
Trying to flop and get the free throws because he knew he missed the shot. And look, you got to do what you got to do, but it's also a bad look. Like,
it is.
When you're sitting up there taking the high road on your high horse, talking down on Shea and these other stars for flopping and free throw merchants and whatever, and then you turn around and do the same thing. Everybody does it. That's why you might as well just not say anything, because everybody does it.
And then for him to go in the post-game press conference and essentially say, we should be better. I should be better from recovering from the high of winning the conference finals. It just reminds me of the old Kobe Bryant clip of where they're asking him in a post-game press conference, you're up 2-0. Why aren't you smiling? Job's not done.
Yeah.
Didn't have that mentality. It didn't seem like the Spurs have that mentality based on what Wembenyama said after the game, right?
Yeah.
Didn't recover, right? They're still on ecstatic from winning the Western Conference Finals, and didn't get refocused back enough to say, hey, job not finished. We still have to play this New York Knicks team, who has now won 13 consecutive games.
They have not lost
They are
since
hot.
before the NFL draft.
They're amazing. They're awesome. They're fun to watch.
Yeah.
Last night, I think Karl Anthony Towns did so much to change the perception that everybody has painted Karl Anthony Towns in because of the memes, because of the questioning the trade that initially sent him to the New York Knicks. And last night, I think he did phenomenal wonders to his career.
Yeah, game 1 and 2 were both awesome for Cat.
The work that he did on Wembenyama, specifically in the first half, defensively was incredible. You hold Victor Wembanyama at halftime to just 7 points. That's awesome. Karl Anthony Towns also then, gets in foul trouble. He's off the floor, and that's when the San Antonio Spurs start cutting into that lead and start making a little bit of a comeback.
Yeah. Wembanyama, 40 minutes last night. He played 40 minutes, which is crazy. That's just straight up unsustainable for him.
Yeah.
29 points, but really bad from the floor. 11 of 21 shooting, 2 of 6 from 3. That's after a game 1 when he was 6 of 21 from the floor, 2 of 9 from 3. But he did shoot 13 free throws in game 1. And then last night he shot 8. Offensively, Wemby's just not there this series. Now, it is crazy how much of a defensive force he still is, right? But offensively, he has just been way off. And I really like your point about riding the high of beating the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference Finals, because, it felt like San Antonio crowned themselves right then and there because they took down the defending champs. They took down the team that was supposed to be the next dynasty and, back-to-back MVP, and they defeated him.
Right.
And that was it. But it's like, hey, you've still got a whole other series left to play against a good Knicks team.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was weird that the Spurs were heavy favorites entering the finals. Like, why? I mean, I get that they beat the Thunder, and the Thunder are a very good team, but the Thunder were missing their second best player, and their third best player played like garbage. The Knicks team is relatively fully healthy. And as you mentioned, riding a hot streak. This is one of the best hot streaks in NBA playoff history as far as 13 straight wins. I don't know. I think people were crowning San Antonio way too early, including themselves.
And we certainly did as well.
Not me.
I thought it was going to be whoever came out of the West was going to win, but now here we are with the New York Knicks sitting at 2-0.
I'm so anti-Wembenyama. I'm anti-Spurs. I really do. I get so annoyed when it's always like, crowning the next big thing and being obsessed with how good he is. And I get that game 1 performance against the Thunder was something that you only see once every 5 years is a game like that. But that doesn't mean that the Spurs are going to win the finals because of that. And who knows, maybe they do turn around and win this series, but now you're down 0-2. You got to go back to New York City. You're going to be playing in one of the most notorious playoff environments in all of sports. Timothy Chalamet and Kylie Jenner are going to be right there on Celebrity Row next to Spike Lee and Ben Stiller. The Pope's going to be watching from across the pond.
Right.
It's just... it's too much to ask of San Antonio right now. This is a team that, again, they're kind of playing with house money because they're not supposed to be here. They were not supposed to get past Oklahoma City. So it's good for them to be here in Wembanyama's age 22 season. But at the same time, who knows if you're ever going to make it back. So quit celebrating the Western Conference Finals, lock in, and go win a game.
How much do you think the age played a factor into the Spurs last night? Because... I mean, obviously, it's still a young team. This is the first time most, if not all, of these guys are on the floor in these type of moments and in these type of situations. And then you had some really interesting clock management at the end from a head coach who is also
right.
on the younger side, if I'm not mistaken. This is his first. Is it his first year as the head coach or second?
I think
regardless, still relatively young
right.
head coach. And you get the rebound from Wemby on an opportunity from you get the ball back on an opportunity for the Knicks to take a 2-point lead, and then there's 12 seconds left. You have a timeout in your back pocket. You can take that timeout and essentially design the play that you want to play in order to give you a game-winning shot. But instead, it forces that turnover.
This is Mitch Johnson's first year. That's crazy.
First year. There you go.
Well, I think he was maybe the interim after Pop stepped down, and then they promoted him full-time officially.
That's right. Yes.
But no, that's a great point. And I think that's where the miscommunication came from with Steph Castle and Victor Wembanyama. Seems like Steph thought they were going to call a timeout. Wembanyama thought they were going to run the floor. Obviously, Mitch Johnson sits on the timeout, so he wanted them to run the floor. And that's an experience all around. Why would you not take a timeout with 12 seconds left as a head coach?
I think watching that play and then immediately as the turnover happens, Brunson gets the ball, you commit the foul. It seems like, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, why don't you take that timeout there?
Yeah.
Again, there's 12 seconds left. It's a tie game at that point. You can go and you can run whatever play you want with 12 seconds on the other side. I understand, wanting to bleed out the clock and making sure the Knicks don't get a possession, but it just seemed like that was really interesting clock management from the Spurs down the stretch.
Yeah, we talk about the youth and inexperience, and, it is on the floor for the Spurs. Most of these players have never been in the playoffs before. De'Aaron Fox played 1 year in the playoffs. I think Champagnie on the 76ers played once or twice in the playoffs. But outside of that, it's essentially everybody's first rodeo. But it's deeper than that. Look at the coaches. Mike Brown's first head coaching job was 21 years ago with the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2005.
Yes.
Mitch Johnson, we just mentioned, this was his first full season as the Spurs head coach. Now, he did learn from an all-time great in Greg Popovich, but that's not to say that he's a perfect coach by any means. So, kind of talked about that with Ben Anderson yesterday a little bit. Like, after game one and you see what happens on the floor, what adjustments do these coaches make? And not only in between games, but late in games. And then, you get down to clock management and things like that. I'm sure it's frustrating for somebody, like Wembanyama to feel like he's the best player in the world. And it's one thing when he makes mistakes, but then, your head coach and your teammates make mistakes late in the stretch, and that's frustrating. But again, Wemby had his own mistakes last night. This loss is not on Mitch Johnson, wholly, right? It's not all on Steph Castle. Victor Wembanyama's definitely got his part to play in the loss, but then you just do got to turn and give credit to the Knicks.
Yeah.
Because they had a terrible fourth quarter. They went scoreless for, I want to say it was like a 6-minute run.
It was something in that regards. And that's where, I do want to give credit to this young San Antonio Spurs team because they were down by 14. And twice, they were down with some pretty big leads twice. I don't remember what the first one was, but they were down 14 down in the fourth quarter, and they were able to cut into that lead multiple times. They were able to get back within striking distance multiple times. Late in the fourth quarter, they even took the lead back. And then you look at somebody like Jalen Brunson, who I thought was phenomenal in the clutch, fantastic in the clutch in game one.
Yeah.
And had some really big moments in the clutch. And in this one, trying to replicate those clutch moments, and he came short. There was a wide open three late in the game from Jalen Brunson that, in those situations, you want your superstar to be automatic. And typically, I think he is automatic, but he ends up missing the three and allows San Antonio to retake the lead.
He did tie it, though.
He did tie it,
with that mid-range. That was such a beautiful shot.
And that was fantastic. And again, I'm not taking away from that jumper, the fadeaway bucket, because it was a special bucket. But Jalen Brunson down in the clutch wasn't as clutch as he was in game one. And San Antonio should theoretically be taking advantage of that. San Antonio should theoretically be taking advantage of coming back from being down by 14 points late in the fourth quarter. And instead, you have the mistakes from Wemby that ultimately put you down 2-0.
Dylan Harper played 32 minutes off the bench.
He did.
That's crazy. He had 15 points. De'Aaron Fox had 20. Vassell had 14. Steph Castle had 14. So you're seeing some good performances from everybody on the Spurs outside of Wemby, right? It's not just Wembanyama carrying the team. Of course, he did lead them in scoring with 29 points, but I think the thing with the Knicks is Jalen Brunson is the clutch guy. But again, he had a bad game, and they're still able to win when he has a bad game. He shot 7 of 25 last night, 2 of 8 from 3. Those are terrible numbers.
Yeah.
But although he missed that 3 you're talking about, he tied the game up with 40 seconds left against Victor Wembanyama, mind you. That he took him on one-on-one and then shot a fadeaway over Wembanyama to tie the game. Then he had the free throws, and he, 1 or 2? I think he split them, but he still knocked one of them down to take the lead. And San Antonio did have a chance to win the game, but, even though Brunson's off, I think McCall Bridges, great game from him.
Yes.
20 points, 4 of 6 from 3, 8 of 13 shooting. He kind of took over when Jalen Brunson was really struggling. And then Karl Anthony Towns, again, mentioned him earlier, but he's completely changing the narrative that people had around him, because you think of Minnesota Cat, and even last year, this is a dude that everybody was like, hey, you're 7 feet tall. Why are you so soft?
Right.
Why don't you play tough at all? He was one of the softest big men in the league, but somehow, some way, that has flipped in these finals. He's so tough all of a sudden, and he's rising up to the occasion against Victor Wembanyama, which ironically is the exact opposite of what Chet Holmgren did in the Western Conference Finals.
I would agree.
Chet completely cowered when Victor Wembanyama tried to take him on one-on-one. Cat is rising to the occasion, man, and he is really, really surprising me.
Absolutely. Again, I think his defensive performance led to the Knicks being able to be as dominant as they were in that first half, and then early through the third quarter. But then, you get into the foul trouble. He has to be off the floor for probably a little bit more than Mike Brown wanted him to be, and then that's when the Spurs ultimately started hacking into that lead. Josh Hart also late in the game, having to sit out for a little bit because he also got himself into some foul trouble. And again, good on the San Antonio Spurs for taking advantage of that. But when Karl Anthony Towns was on the floor, I think that's when Victor Wembanyama struggled the most. And then give credit to Mitchell Robinson, who came in and I thought also did a really, really good job on Victor Wembanyama. Karl Anthony Towns is doing so much to change the perception on him, and you can probably say the same thing about Bridges, right? Everybody criticized that trade. Everybody talked about the hefty price that was paid to bring Bridges to the New York Knicks. Maybe didn't have necessarily a stand-up performance in game one, but I think in the second game, when you can't rely as much on Cat to be on the floor and to be your scorer, I thought Bridges did really great things down in the fourth and third quarter to help out his side, man.
It seems like every one of these Knicks starters is kind of getting their moment, which is really cool. Josh Hart was the MVP of game one. That was the Josh Hart game. And then game two, it's Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
And, of course, Jalen Brunson doing his thing in both games. And, again, Cat doing his thing. Cat was plus 11 last night, I believe. He led all New York Knicks players in plus-minus. Did you know they're the third team ever to win the first 2 games on the road?
Yeah. They harped on that. They harped on that a lot last night.
It is funny.
Yeah.
We get it, but it is cool at the same time.
It is cool.
Joining the 93 Bulls and 95 Rockets, by the way.
It is cool. And then, of course, you have the, the contrast where it was the Suns and, oh boy, who else? That came back from 2-0 in the finals.
From 2-0.
Yeah, that was also
the Cavs.
I can't remember. That was also a stat that they harped last night on that broadcast.
It was a really fun, entertaining game. It's a 1-point game in the NBA Finals. You've got.
But what more could you ask for? I think you've had.
Right.
I think you've had two really, really great games. I know that it was a little bit more of an inflated lead for the Knicks in Game 1, but it still lived up to the billing. And again, I think it has to go back to Jalen Brunson and the moments that he showed in the clutch in Game 1. In this one, it came down to the wire. Ultimately, I think it's unfortunate that it was ultimately decided by an unfortunate turnover in an unfortunate situation where Wemby and Steph Cancel aren't on the same page. But it's still really great basketball. And it was still a really fun game, and I think so far between two games between the Spurs and the Knicks, man, this finals has lived up to the billing. It's been fantastic to watch.
I don't mind that it was decided on a stupid turnover. Like they're vulnerable.
Yeah, but
they're
how much
vulnerable.
better?
That's basketball.
Yeah, but how much better would it have been if it was decided by either that fadeaway jumper from Jalen Brunson,
yeah, that would have been cool,
or Wembenyama scores
the game-winning
shot, as he's also trying to show up in clutch moments. But that would have been better than a turnover that leads to a.
Well, I think that encapsulates
the
turnover encapsulates the Spurs are too young for this right now.
Yeah.
Narrative. I think that just sums it up perfectly. Like you point to that play because you mentioned who made the mistake, Wembenyama, Steph Castle, or the coach. All of them are inexperienced. Right. All of them are probably too young for this rodeo here. It's not their time yet. You'd like to say, Wembenyama, your time's going to come in the next few years. But who knows if he ever makes it back to the finals again. We'll see. But great stuff so far. I mean, games 1 and 2 have been electric, and that's in freaking San Antonio, one of the most boring cities ever.
Yeah.
I was talking with Ben yesterday, like how many other cities in Texas would you rather go to? San Antonio is like at least 4th or 5th, right?
Yeah. I'd rather go to Dallas, obviously.
Yeah.
I'd rather go to Austin.
Houston.
And yeah, I'd probably put San Antonio 4.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'd probably go 4.
But anyways, back to New York, and it's gonna be crazy.
It is. It's gonna be wild. Massive credit to the New York Knicks fans who showed up, because there was a lot there in San Antonio last night for Game 2.
Yeah.
There was a lot in San Antonio for Game 1. And it was loud, man. On the broadcast, it was there were audible loud cheers for "Let's Go Knicks" and New York, and it's awesome that despite it being a road game, that there was that much contingency of the New York Knicks there supporting their guys. They're ready, man. They're loving it.
Monday, Game 3.
$9,000 to get in.
Oh, that's crazy.
I know. Did you see the tickets for Game 4?
No.
They have also taken a big rise since last night's win.
Let me guess. Do you have the number ready?
So last night when I checked it, I'm going to check real quick to see if it's gone up more.
Okay. While you pull it up, I'm going to take my guess. So Game 3, you're saying $9,000 is the get-in price. Game 4, obviously, going to be higher because it could be the closeout game. They could sweep San Antonio. I'm going to say $12,000.
Last night when I checked, it was up to 14.
Oh my gosh! For a single ticket?
It was up to $14,000, the cheapest to get into Game 4. Now it looks like it's up to 15. Nope.
Wow.
16. It's up to 16.
That's crazy.
Help me, I'm poor.
Yes, exactly. I don't know how the New York Knicks fans are getting into Madison Square Garden for Games 3 and Games 4, but. If you're in that environment and if you're in that stadium, man, get kudos to you, because you're going to be in for a treat.
What else could you buy for $14,000? That would be more worth it, though. Would you pay $14,000 to watch your favorite team win the finals, win a championship?
I think even that might be a little too rich for my blood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'd think about it at least.
I mean, sure, I'd contemplate it. You have to contemplate it. Your team's about to win an NBA championship, but that might be a little too rich for my blood.
If I pay $14,000, they better let me
They better
on the
win.
stage.
They better win on game 4. They better close it down.
They better win.
Because if I'm dropping $14,000 and they don't clinch in game 4, and if they don't hold up the trophy at Madison Square Garden, I'm going to be a little upset.
Oh, I was going to say they better let me on the podium and let me hold the trophy for a second. Little meet and greet.
Oh, jeez.
All right, let's take a break.
The real question is, if the New York Knicks win the NBA championship, which Batman are you going to call to save New York?
Which Batman?
Which Batman are you going to call to save New York, man? Because it's going to get crazy.
Battinson, I guess.
Pattinson?
Battinson.
I'm going Bale. Give me Christian Bale all day, every day.
Okay, let's take a break. Coming up next on the other side, let's do another rumor mill segment. We had some fun with that next week, and we've got some more rumors coming out of the NBA draft and even the NFL world as well. So stick with us. It's the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Wendy's new Biggie Deals lets you choose whatever you're in the mood for. It's like a music mixing board of deals, and you're the producer. Go with some chill folk music with a JBC in the $4 Biggie Bite snack. Try the drum and bass of deals with a double stack in the $6 Biggie Bag. Or go full-on sandwich symphony with an $8 Biggie Bundle, the grand finale of snacking. And the best part? They all come with napkins. $4, $6, and $8 Biggie Deals how you want them at Wendy's.
Price and participation may vary. Single items at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska, California, and Hawaii.
Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles. It is time for the Rumor Mill. This segment, we started last week. We had some fun with it. Alex, we're just going to run through a couple of rumors. Nothing's official, right?
It's all rumors.
Some rumblings, things that could come true. But if they don't get mad at us.
Rumor has it, the rumor mill is here to stay.
Yeah,
There you
nice.
go. There you go.
All right, first up, rumor has it. Dylan Larkin, the captain center out of Detroit, has requested a trade. Now, that part is official. Rumor has it the Utah Mammoth might be interested.
And they should be. This is a guy who had 34 goals, 33 assists for the Red Wings last season, in his 5th straight year of hitting that 30-goal mark. And he was a big part of Team USA, who ended up taking gold in the 2026 Olympics. Let's not forget that. I just think that if you go and try to make a trade for a Dylan Larkin, it's going to come with a pretty hefty price tag, I believe. And so does our Utah Mammoth insider, Cole Bagley, who ended up putting up kind of this mock trade proposal up on his Twitter feed.
He got buried for it.
And it, like I said, it's going to be a hefty price. His mock shows Barrett Hayton, Sean Dursey, Caleb Denoye, the first round 2026 pick, a 2028 second-round conditional pick in exchange for Dylan Larkin. That seems like a hefty price tag.
We'll have to see. The leverage in this scenario is interesting because on one hand, Dylan Larkin is requesting a trade out. So that loses a lot of leverage for Detroit.
That is true.
But at the same time, he is a very talented player. As you mentioned, he's been right around that 30-goal mark for the last few years. 5 seasons in a row where he's hitting at least 30 goals a season. And in that same time span, he's also averaging around 70 points a season. His high was 79 points back in 2022. But he's been right around that 60 to 70 point mark every single year the past 5 seasons. So he's a great player. And that means there's going to be a bidding war for whoever is interested in Dylan Larkin. So I guess we'll see if GMBA wants to push some chips in. If they felt like they were close to beating Vegas in the playoffs this year, and now Vegas is in the Stanley Cup Finals, if they feel like they are a Dylan Larkin away from maybe being in that same tier of teams, or if Bill Armstrong would rather just keep riding his youth. I am interested to see, though, because they have so many young prospects that people are so high on. There's no way they could all see the ice. You're going to have to do something with some of them, right, as far as trading for veterans, whether that's now or a couple years down the road. I don't know, maybe you do capitalize on the value now because a guy like Denoye has not played in the NHL, so he's still got – basically his value right now is extremely high.
Right.
And it might fall after his first year in the NHL, or it might rise, who knows. But you might want to capitalize on that from this perspective.
Something that I found really, really interesting when all the information came out about Larkin, what was it, 2 days ago, yesterday, was the fact that he's only played in 5 playoff games in his 11 years in the
Well, that's because
in the
Detroit
NHL.
sucks.
Yeah, Detroit, I mean, obviously
And that's
not
why he
the
wants
great.
out.
And so I think it would be safe to say that Dylan Larkin is obviously going to want to move wherever he ends up going. He's going to want to end up in a contender, in a playoff contending team. And so I feel like if the Utah Mammoth feel like they're in that position where they can bring in a Dylan Larkin to kind of put him over the top, that's obviously something that you have to consider no matter what. And I think it's part of the whole due diligence and due process to at least put a feeler out there and find out what the asking price is going to be for a Dylan Larkin.
Yeah. And that would be really interesting to see them take a big swing like that because, again, this team is so young right now. But if you trade for somebody like Larkin, you kind of adjust your whole timeline.
Yes,
So
and that's
we'll see.
that's something in the past that people like Cole Bagley has mentioned about the timeline and how they don't want to mortgage their entire future
Right.
for a win now move. They want to
Right.
make sure that they're set where they can be competitive for the next 6, 7, etc. years or however long they can extend that window. So again, I think when I look at the Dylan Larkin situation, I look at that. The same question pops up in my head, right? Do you want to mortgage your future for a move that essentially seems like, in a way, it is let's go and win now?
All right. Next.
Aaron Donald keeps teasing a comeback.
This is so funny.
Obviously, the big news this week in the NFL was the blockbuster trade that happened between the Cleveland Browns and the Los Angeles Rams, sending Myles Garrett to L.A. And ever since then, the Rams fans aren't satisfied because Aaron Donald keeps teasing and keeps posting him workout clips and keeps embedding songs essentially with the lyrics, "I'm not done, I'm coming back, I'm ready." So it's a little he's getting people excited and he's getting people thinking about what an Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett defensive lineup would look like.
That would be crazy. I mean, Aaron Donald is the most dominant football player I have ever seen in my lifetime, right? Missed out on some of the greats like Barry Sanders. I mean, Tom Brady has the rings, right? But I'm talking about individual game-wrecking players that every single play you have to double, triple team. You have to account for. You can't run towards their side at all. Aaron Donald was amazing. Myles Garrett is right up there, right behind him. And who knows if Aaron Donald still has the juice. He keeps saying the fire, right? And that's why he retired, is because he kind of just lost the drive. I mean, he won his Super Bowl, and then he was like, yeah, I've won Super Bowl. I've won Defensive Player of the Year. Like, I've done everything I wanted to accomplish. I don't have the fire in me, the drive to keep, because it's hard to play at that level in the NFL, right? So that's why he retired. Maybe Myles Garrett coming to LA is enough to bring him back.
Of course, Pat McAfee gets involved because Pat McAfee does get involved for some reason. But he texts Aaron Donald, and Aaron Donald essentially said, "We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see." Obviously, Sean McVay has been asked multiple times already too if Aaron Donald would want to come back, and he said there's conversations between him and Aaron Donald all the time, and essentially says at the age of 35 he can still come in and play at a pretty good rate. So we'll see.
I'm sure. Yeah,
We'll see.
I'm sure he could still be decent.
Who knows, man? Maybe in September, down the line as you get closer to the playoffs, he signs a contract, pulls a little bit of an Eric Weddle, right? Comes out of retirement, goes on, wins the ring, and then retires.
Retires.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. That is the the latest on Aaron Donald. What's next?
Rumor has it the top two prospects, A.J. DeBonsa and Darren Peterson, are only going to work out for the top two teams. Now, this one specifically, I do want to mention this is just a rumor. It's pretty hard to confirm something like this. But, you've seen from a lot of draft insiders and draft experts that this is what they have heard. This is what they have been told. So A.J. DeBonsa and Darren Peterson expected to go number one, number two, maybe in that order. Sounds like they are only working out for those two teams.
And, rightfully so, because I think the consensus is, I think while there's not a consensus on who the Wizards are going to be taking at number one, I think there is a consensus that the number one and the number two is going to be Darren Peterson and AJ DeBonsa.
Yeah.
Whatever order that may be in. So it makes sense.
I do want to clarify that the Jazz are working out anybody and everybody.
As they should.
They brought
right?
in Mikal Brown, Darius Acuff, and everybody's like, you're not going to draft Darius Acuff second overall, but they're just having fun.
Even if it is like a little ploy to like kind of hide your hand, right, and make sure nobody gets tipped to whether direction
That's the main thing.
You might be leaning. I think that you absolutely do it, and then obviously just keep those cards close to the chest to make sure that nobody's the wiser to what the Jazz are going to do.
So that's the main thing. The other thing, too, that people sometimes bring up is you never know when these guys are, if they're free agents or if you have an opportunity to trade for them down the line. You want to have somewhat of a relationship with them.
Exactly.
And have them be somewhat familiar with your team and your organization. I had a really good experience working out with Utah in my pre-draft process. Yeah, sure, I'd be okay with going there,
yeah.
That sort of thing.
It's about perception, right? And we've talked about it a couple weeks ago, right? The perception on Utah and the bad rap that it gets. But, you have players like Kevin Love and Josef Nurkic who are veterans in this league, guys in this league who've been on multiple podcasts throughout the course of the season on the Utah high horse and saying how awesome it is here. And so that's just another opportunity to show some of these guys and to spread the word, right? I guess even if it isn't these guys specifically that you're going to be signing in the future, potentially, right? They can still at least spread the word of, hey, we had good workouts in Utah and they treated us really well.
But one more little note on this is it doesn't matter who works out for a team and who doesn't. Because remember last year, Ace Bailey, Notorious, did not work out for anybody but the Wizards, right?
Right.
But the Jazz called his bluff. The Jazz still selected him. So if somehow, Darren Peterson maybe falls to 3, let's say DeBonsa goes 1 and the Jazz take Cam Boozer at 2. I'm sure Memphis would be just fine drafting Darren Peterson even if he didn't work out for them because that doesn't ultimately matter. The Jazz have drafted several players that didn't work out for them, right?
Right.
Sometimes it is a smokescreen. I mean, it's lying season.
It is. And, you got to do anything and everything you can to make sure that those cards stay close to the chest and make sure nobody's tipped ahead of time to what you might potentially do. And I think that's something you guys had Austin Age on Jake and Ben earlier this week, and that's something that that he mentioned was like, hey, we don't know what Washington's going to do.
Yeah.
And that's again why you have to kind of go in through here and make sure that you can work out everybody because you really don't know what's going to happen.
I can't wait.
You really don't know what's going to happen. And it could be Boozer at 2, it could be AJ at 2, it could be Darren Peterson at 2. So you might as well work everybody.
June 23rd, man.
Can't get here soon enough. It feels like we're everybody in Salt Lake and everybody in Utah is just kind of waiting to see what happens, getting all the information they can, man. Every day I open up Twitter and every day I open up social media. The first thing that pops up on my feed, it's either AJ DeBonsa or Darren Peterson, and Jazz fans, working out the possibility of either one of those two guys ending up a Utah Jazz, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
We'll see. Let's take a break, Alex. Coming up next on the other side, we will hit technical fouls. We've got an NFL team potentially on the move. We will talk about that and more. Stick with us. It's the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles. It is time for Technical Fouls, where we talk about some of the lighthearted things going on in sports. And, we assess technical fouls to the people that deserve them and call them out for being stupid or whatever.
Yeah, this is, we call out the silly things in the world of sports.
Okay, I will start things off with a very sad story coming out of Chicago. The Bears are moving closer to a move for a new stadium in, get this, Indiana.
The Indiana Bears.
I think I'd prefer the Hammond Bears
Instead of Indiana?
instead of Indiana. Yeah, Because
Hammond Bears?
they're moving to the city of Hammond. It is 16 miles south of Chicago, and it's like right on the border of Indiana, right? And so, it's not that far of it's not, it wouldn't be like the furthest of
It's 35
of moves,
minutes away.
but
yeah.
But still, everybody's freaking out about the Chicago Bears leaving Chicago.
Right. Well, first off, I think it's a ridiculous idea for an NFL team, if they would still have Chicago on their helmets and be playing in a completely different state. And I get that it's right across the border. I get that it's a 35-minute drive.
Yeah, but the Jets and the Giants do it.
And I totally get that, and I think they need to be punished.
They need to be the New York Jets, or the New Jersey Jets.
Yes, I do. I hate that. That's
you know
stupid.
what though? New Jersey Jets rolls off the tongue a little bit better than New York Jets.
Yeah,
You have the alliteration a little bit there with the J's.
the New Jersey Nets were a thing
That's true.
because they understood the assignment for a second.
That is true.
And then they went back to Brooklyn. No, I look, and this isn't official yet. They voted to advance their stadium development. Again, this is all kind of just to put pressure on Chicago, and there still is a chance that everything gets resolved and Chicago will build them a new stadium, is essentially what this is about. But this has been in the works for a couple of years now, and the closer it gets from, or the farther away it gets from anything being done to save it in Chicago, the farther this advances, and there is a real possibility that they do move to a new city. And I get that it's right outside of Chicago and it's barely across the state line, but I do think it's pretty stupid to be playing for a different state and still representing Chicago, especially if they're trying to get out of Chicago,
Do we start calling them the Missouri Chiefs?
They're going to be in Kansas City one way or the other. It's just which Kansas City are they going to be part of? The Kansas or the Missouri side, and it's looking like the Kansas side, but still KC. Still,
that's another one of those teams, right? That's like, obviously Kansas City is like right on the border, right?
Yeah.
And so you have the Missouri side, you have the Kansas side, and then, but I always associate them with Kansas because it's Kansas City,
right? But they don't.
but they're in Missouri. Yeah.
So it's, I don't know, some
The
of these
Missouri
things
Chiefs.
are really, really weird. Yeah, imagine if, I don't know, if the Minnesota Vikings played in North Dakota.
Oh, you'd have to call them the North Dakota Vikings.
Right.
You can't
because
keep
that's where the stadium
you can't
is.
Keep Minnesota. I don't know. It's weird. The geographical things of this whole situation with the Hammond Bears or the Indiana Bears, and then you have the plenty of teams who are already kind of in a situation like that, and so
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see if they find their way to stay at Chicago. I understand why they want to move out. Right, Soldier Field is significantly smaller than most other NFL stadiums,
And it's old.
It's older than most other NFL stadiums. So we'll see, man. Hopefully they can find the way to stay in Chicago.
This would give Indiana 2 NFL teams.
It would.
Which is crazy.
It would. I wonder how the Colts feel about all this.
Give us one.
Yeah, I wonder how the Colts feel about all this.
Maybe. I don't know how far is Indianapolis to Hammond.
Stepping up in their territory, man.
It's a 2.5-hour drive.
That's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be, though.
That's actually, that's relatively...
Yeah.
That is relatively close.
It's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
But honestly, if Hammond is that close to Chicago, I'd imagine those people would just be going to Bears games anyways, right? If you're close enough, you're not going to get more people going to Chicago Bears games because they moved a half hour south.
I would agree.
I don't know. Maybe it doesn't affect them at all. Some of these other, Pennsylvania has 2 NFL teams. Ohio has 2 NFL teams, so...
I forgot.
Some of these weird states.
Yeah. I'm
Why do
telling
you get 2?
I'm telling you, man. There's some weird geography things going on in the NFL, man.
Yeah.
And this is just gonna be another thing added onto it. What about ESPN giving Tony Parker the AI treatment?
That was crazy, actually. And I saw the picture. I was like, "Is this AI?" And then I saw the original one. So explain it for those who may have missed.
During the finals, there was a picture during the broadcast that was posted up of Tony Parker, and it was very clearly AI edited. It wasn't even the original picture, which is weird because like they have the original picture. Like you could have just used the original picture. I don't understand why you have to AI it to put it onto your broadcast. That makes no sense to me whatsoever.
So from what I understand, the original picture is him sitting on the court after winning the finals,
with Larry O'Brien.
Right?
Yeah.
And the AI version is just him with the bigger smile. Is that all it is?
I think so.
So they made it. They used AI to make him smile more.
Yes.
Which is weird. Who sees that picture? They're like, oh, boss, this would be a great photo to run for our Spurs package. And then somebody says, you know what? He's not smiling very big. What can we do to make those teeth shine?
And it's very clearly like, boosted up to like really great HD quality because during that time the cameras weren't obviously as great. So it's
got a little bit of a uncanny valley feel to it.
It kind of does, man. It looks weird because it also doesn't really look like Tony Parker. Like it's Tony Parker, but it doesn't also look like Tony Parker. It's weird.
Got to be careful with this AI stuff.
I do think that it's funny though because when people obviously saw this, it went viral. Everybody's talking about the AI edited photo of Tony Parker. Somebody posted up a picture of 2015 Steph Curry, and kind of edited it into like the ESPN broadcast, or maybe it was taken directly from the ESPN broadcast. I can't remember, but there is a picture of 2015 Steph Curry who looks very different. Everybody was talking about how it was AI edited, similar to the Tony Parker one, but it's actually just how Steph Curry looked like in 2015, which is very different.
Does he look different now?
Very different than what Steph looks like today.
It is weird.
Yeah.
Baby-faced assassin. I guess that's how he. I guess that's how he earned that nickname.
Yeah. So people were also poking fun of Steph Curry with this a little bit.
Imagine that. That's gonna be the new diss for like middle school kids. Like instead of calling somebody ugly, it's just gonna be like, "You look like your AI."
Well, do you remember? Everybody's in high school is like posting up pictures with like the filters and like
the dog face,
right? And like everybody, like when a picture had filters, like maybe that's the next step in all this. Instead of filters, people are AI generating themselves to look better and to post on Instagram. Who knows?
Crazy.
Yeah,
but now you're seeing
that's the world we live in.
How much money does ESPN have, and they're wasting it on this crap? You know?
Right.
Anyway. We're going to take a break. Coming up next, Austin Ainge was on the station earlier this week. He gave some great insight into the NBA draft, a little bit of their process and what's going on behind the scenes. He talked with Ben and DJ. So we're going to play some cuts and kind of get into some of that information that Austin Ainge gave out, president of basketball operations for the Utah Jazz. So stick with us. It's the Saturday Show, 97.5 DKSL Sports Zone.
Summer is all about freedom, fun, and growing up. And between the ages of 9 and 13, kids are starting to form their views about alcohol. With more independence, their still developing brains need more guidance and support than ever. That's why summer is the perfect time to stay connected and plan fun, safe family activities together. Research shows kids who spend quality time with their parents doing what they enjoy are less likely to drink underage. And when kids feel close to you, they're more likely to listen, especially when you set clear expectations. In fact, kids who drink before 15 are far more likely to struggle with alcohol later. This summer, create a no-bummer summer with fun, alcohol-free activities for your kids. Go to summer.parentsempowered.org to take a quick quiz and discover ideas tailored to your family. A little time together can make a big difference. For more information and to learn more about how to prevent underage drinking, visit parentsempowered.org.